Well, it looks like Ripple wins again. Okay, well, they didn't really win anything officially, but in this video, I'm going to talk about what they just submitted to Judge Knepper that they and the SEC had to submit regarding the deliberative process privilege and why the SEC thinks that their documents are supposed to submit to Judge Knepper and should be protected. I'm going to tell you what Ripple said and why Jeremy Hogan thinks Ripple just won the day. I'm also going to talk about the price movement of XRP recently and why a metrics firm has actually came out with their opinion and why it backs up another technical analyst view of the XRP price movement. I'm going to talk about what they said and how they back it up. And of course, we have the Congressional Finance Hearings that happened the other day with all of the CEOs of fintech companies, blockchain companies, answering questions before Congress. Well, I reviewed a bunch of stuff, but there's really only two highlights that I'm going to talk about, and one of them involves XRP. Also have some NFT news that I'm going to discuss because it continues to make headlines as another CryptoPunk has nearly set another record, selling for $10.6 million recently, and I'm going to talk about some other NFT news that is making waves. Hey everyone, my name is Randy, and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel, I'm covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, as well as other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all those topics interest you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to click that bell notification icon so YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. And if you're feeling generous today, I'd appreciate it if you do two things. Number one, smash that thumbs up button. And number two, watch this video all the way to the end. Those are really the two best things that you can do to support a YouTube channel. So if you do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, let's jump into it. So first, I want to quickly discuss the NFT news that is making headlines. Now, it's more been making headlines because of the astronomical amounts of money or cryptocurrencies that people are paying for JPEGs. Well, a rare CryptoPunk just sold for $10.6 million, and it's not the most expensive one. The one back in July sold for about $11.2 million. But nonetheless, NFTs and the amount of money they're selling for continues to make waves. A lot of people thought back in February, March, April that the NFT world was essentially creating a bubble as it started to sell NFTs for millions of dollars and started to hit mainstream headlines. But it didn't stop. In fact, it continues to grow. So recently I saw that Gary Vaynerchuk, also known as Gary V in the entrepreneur world, recently launched a line of NFTs of his own called VeeFriends. Now, it's a little bit different than some other NFT projects. There's a little bit more thought behind it, but nonetheless, he disclosed that he has made over $91 million in 90 days from his NFT collection that he minted and sold. This is from direct sales as well as the royalties that you receive when other people buy and sell your NFTs. Now, his NFTs actually explore a little bit more of a use case than just owning a JPEG. For instance, his NFTs can actually be used for event tickets or as event tickets for his upcoming conferences and events. That's one area of NFTs that are now being explored by multiple other entities. But nonetheless, $91 million in 90 days, that's a handsome sum of money. And in some unrelated news, I'm going to be starting my own line of NFTs, and I just wanted to throw that out there. All right, now we're going to talk about XRP and its price movement. Several weeks ago, the Blockchain Backer, who is another YouTuber who very much covers XRP, covers Ripple, he's a technical analyst, he covers a lot of things on the technical and pricing side. He did a video that explores why XRP is actually being suppressed and how much it's being suppressed compared to the rest of the crypto market because of the SEC and its underlying actions. Now, I'm not going to go into detail of all the backstory because you kind of need to follow this channel or several other channels that follow those stories. But nonetheless, his analysis really does prove that the price is being suppressed. And now it is finally being backed up by a metrics firm called Santiment. They recently came out and said that the XRP price, comparatively to the rest of the market and comparatively to its fundamentals, is largely oversold, in that it's strong and oversold, which means it's essentially undervalued. Well, the only real reason it could be undervalued right now comparatively to the rest of the market is because of its legal battle with the SEC. Now, this comes as no shock to you if you're an XRP holder, but nonetheless, the rest of the crypto space, some of which are finally starting to wake up to this and see that a lot of this is because of the action versus the SEC. And this is where some of the interviews from the hearing that went on yesterday, where the CEOs of blockchain and fintech companies met with the United States Congressional Hearing Financial Services Committee to answer a bunch of questions. And there was a lot of things that went on. Some funny quotes, the one that I put in my last video, and another piece of information that's been coming out is that Brad Sherman, who is a representative from California, essentially epitomizes the meme "old man shakes fist" at Bitcoin. A lot of people use that for Peter Schiff. but it could really apply to this guy. And it's clear from seeing his responses during these hearings that he was essentially anti-crypto, anti-change, and basically feared everything. There is a superhero that emerged from this, and that is all over Twitter, and that is Brian Brooks, who used to be the comptroller of the currency during the Trump administration. He's now the CEO of the Bitfury crypto group, and he explained in amazing detail what blockchain is, what Web3 is, why it shouldn't be feared, and he explained it succinctly, clearly, and simply enough that even members of Congress could understand it. So he is now going around Twitter as the new superhero, and many people are saying the guy that used to be in government, this is the guy that should actually be in government. He's the guy that should be the head of the SEC or the CFTC and putting all these regulations in place because he actually knows what he's talking about. And he went on to say a couple of things, how things like wallets are important and why new technology shouldn't be feared. He went on to tell a story about when he was in his second year of law school that the banking committee wouldn't let anybody essentially receive information over email because they didn't understand how transmissions of emails over this mysterious computer network could be safe. Of course, now we laugh at that, but he was making a point. Why is everybody so afraid of cryptocurrencies, or at least people in Congress? So there were some very crucial points that he was making, but one of the most important things, especially if you're an XRP holder, you're going to be of interest to this. A congressman, Ted Budd, had asked him, if you were king for a day, what would you do? How would you lay out a regulatory structure? And he said, well, basically, it seems like the banking system or the incumbent that's in place always seems to be the safe option as compared to crypto, which is seen as new, which is seen as something scary. And he said that really shouldn't be the case. He said, if I have a lending platform and that resides on blockchain, why shouldn't that be able to participate in the banking industry? And then he said, specifically, if we decide that XRP is a security, then why can't it be listed on any of the US exchanges? That'd be the mic drop moment where Gary Gensler turns off the TV and stops listening. And was one of several times that he actually put the SEC on blast. Another time when he was talking about why essentially cryptocurrencies are considered volatile and why it's seen as dangerous for individual investors. Well, he said a lot of times it's because they can't invest in them without diversification, such as an ETF, where multiple cryptocurrencies projects are combined into one investment product. And he went on to explain that Canada has those products, Germany has those products, Singapore, Portugal, and many other countries around the world actually have those products approved and on their marketplace, but the United States doesn't. And when Congressman Ted Budd asked him why can't US citizens do that, Brooks said it's because the SEC has refused to approve any products like that in the United States. And then Budd continued, so it looks like we're behind the curve on that, and Brooks said, unquestionably. Now keep this in mind when Jeremy Hogan, who tweeted out on Twitter, was talking about what the Ripple versus the SEC case was doing and how the SEC is essentially broken. Because what they submitted to Judge Netburn to explain why their documents should actually be protected from this case, Jeremy Hogan said, Congress is the only fix for the broken SEC. Remember that. Well, these hearings are actually a very good sign. When you have guys like Brian Brooks, who's defending really all of crypto or explaining all of crypto to Congress and making a point to mention XRP, it's only a matter of time before other congressmen really step up and put pressure, not just on the SEC, but for there to be a fair outcome on this case versus Ripple as a whole. So if you want to follow along and see what Judge Netburn responds, and make sure you subscribe to the Late Night Grind, because I think that could be an answer that is going to go a long way in trying to figure out what is actually going to happen with the rest of this case. Because Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, thinks that there's going to be regulatory clarity given sometime in early 2022 when this case is finally resolved. So if you want to have a discussion about that, or of course if you have any interest in the NFT project I've been thinking about, let me know in the comment section below or follow me on Twitter and we can discuss it more there. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end and for giving it a big thumbs up, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.